Welcome back, everyone, to Cracking the Career Code with Matt and Kierra, where we provide candidates the keys to success in their job search. And so we've got Job Search January coming up next month. So we figured this week we would talk a little bit about the roles that we recruit for most commonly, as well as some current trends within technology and IT and software engineering. So Kierra, why don't you start us off with some roles that we recruit for typically in the software engineering realm?
Yeah, so we recruit for a lot of different roles, a variety that includes .NET and C# roles, JavaScript, Java, Python, mobile, a lot of mobile roles more recently, C++, Golang, Ruby, a lot of cloud roles. So
Yeah.
we've seen a lot with AWS and Azure more recently,
Mhm.
cloud engineers and DevOps engineers along with these people being in leadership roles, a lot of senior opportunities and leadership opportunities
Yeah.
have also been included in that. What are some of the other ones that we've also heard a lot
Yeah.
of more recently that are maybe not as common, but we still work on?
Yeah, sure. So, sometimes there's some like one-off niche roles that
Yeah.
require specific language to be known, or more commonly, like we'll have roles that are open to polyglots, where software engineers that might know a lot of different languages. Sometimes our clients, you don't necessarily need to see candidates coming from a specific tech stack or
Right.
language, but just that they're solid overall software engineers, and then they can pick up new languages. So we see that a lot. But some of those like odd or maybe like older languages would be like PHP, Elixir, or Erlang. I think we've seen like a Groovy role recently, mainframe or ZOS or ZOS. I'm not sure which one it is. Roles IBM mainframes a little bit dated, but just to reiterate what Kierra said, like I'd say, the most popular roles that we work on are definitely like that .NET, C Sharp, Microsoft Stack, JavaScript roles that are front end, usually with React. Sometimes we still see Angular, back end or full stack roles that also have like Node, JS, and then yeah, definitely some Java, usually with Spring or Spring Boot and Python roles. But yeah, kind of like across the board, all sorts of languages, all sorts of tech stacks that we see.
Yeah, and some of the companies that we've worked with are looking for polyglots, are giving you exposure to learn other languages,
Yep.
are companies that have multiple projects that they're either working on or consulting companies. We've seen that be a common trend amongst
Hmm.
those. But another kind of big area that we've spent a lot of time on has been the data side of things. So data
Yep.
analysts, engineers, and data scientists. I've seen a big need for that. The machine learning and AI space has also been growing. So that's been a
Hmm.
common trend that we've seen amongst people that are trying to get that experience, or companies that are kind of going that direction or working on projects that are going that way as well.
Yeah, and
And
they look for data people, right?
yeah,
So, your AI and machine learning engineers, like usually they have a data background, whether that's in like big data, data science, or data engineering. It's a kind of the career path that we see. It's pretty unlikely that people just like drop out of nowhere into AI and ML roles.
yeah, exactly. And then we also work on the general IT support and help desk roles,
Hmm.
business analysts. I've seen a big influx of product and project managers this year. And those are roles that we've worked on quite a bit.
Yep.
But then, do you want to kind of get into the leadership and like what you've seen on that side of things? Because I know we've gotten in
Sure.
more roles that require that.
Yeah, yeah. So across technology, we've had a lot of manager level, director level, VP level, even C level hires recently, and so those can kind of vary in their focus, right? They could be like general IT, it could be
Yeah.
software engineering, it could be DevOps, it could be product management, it could be both like technical leadership as well as people leadership. So Sometimes we'll see one that's like more hands-off leadership, more like, technical and people management, like technical
Right.
direction and people management. But then other times, and usually it's like smaller companies, maybe you'd have like a more hands-on software engineering manager that's is actually like living in the code, and still writing code and making technical contributions as well as like
Mhm.
managing people. So kind of depends, right? Company size is definitely a contributing factor on that distinction for those leadership level roles.
Yeah, and I would say it really varies on what people have been looking for. Some people really want to stay up to date on the technology, hands-on,
Sure.
and some people are over coding and want more of a hands-off leadership role where they can manage the people and the design and
Mhm.
direction behind it. So it really just is facilitating your interests and where you want to go with your career. I don't think there's one that's better than another. I think it
Yeah.
really just depends on what each individual is looking for. And then as far as computer science degrees versus boot camp degrees or
Yeah.
certificates. Can you kind of walk through what that looks like and what we've seen in the market as far as what companies are looking for or individuals that
Sure.
we've placed with either?
Yeah, so before we get into that, like you mentioned, like, kind of catering to people's interests, like it made me think of our polyglot clients that kind of hire whoever, doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter their tech stack. Like,
Yeah.
when you're on the candidate side and we're doing like the day-to-day recruiting, like some polyglot engineers love the opportunity to learn new languages, but
Right.
or like work in a different tech stack. But then you have, other developers that like they pick one and then they stick to it their
Yeah.
entire career, and kind of like our diehard fans of whatever that language
Yeah.
is for whatever reason that is. And so like I definitely think that can be the case as well for those leadership level roles where like people become a people manager and not like a technical manager anymore, or like maybe they are a technical manager but from like the architecture and design and planning point of view and not like the hands-on point of view.
Yeah, yeah, those are both good points. And I know companies they all vary whether they
Yeah.
require a degree in computer science or some just look at experience. I know we work with companies that
Yeah.
hire from all different backgrounds as long as you have the experience that they're looking for. And then there's other companies that it's critical for them to have a computer science degree. So I think it really
Mhm.
just depends. But what are your thoughts on the boot camp side of things?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
have you worked with a
So
lot of candidates with,
Yeah, so I would say
yeah,
like one, like years of experience is definitely going to speak the most, right? And then
right.
like if you don't have a computer science degree or if you don't have like any 4-year bachelor's degree, like if you have those years of experience, like it's going to speak louder than like
Exactly.
if you have to go back to school and get a degree, which a lot of people when they're 3, 4, 5 years in their career, like they're not going to bother doing
Right.
that. I think when like you're trying to pivot into a software engineering role or a technical role, the people with computer science degrees and like traditional 4-year background, a lot of companies are going to look at that. It's like a more rigorous training and background, and you have the computer science fundamentals and the mathematic background to like really excel in these roles. We do have clients, and I know there's lots of companies that still like have a hard requirement that like everyone at the company, especially in engineering, needs to have a 4-year degree. But I
Hmm.
think there's a lot of good boot camps out there. I think boot camps can teach you a lot. I think like if you only have a boot camp, you don't have any software engineering experience, like you might want to think about doing some side projects
Yeah.
on your own, putting a portfolio together, like a website. Make sure your GitHub kind of like shows that you've gone over and above what a boot camp teaches you. I know,
Hmm.
like sometimes I've talked to people that come out of the same boot camp and they try to brand like their final capstone project as like something that they came up with on their own, when in reality, like everyone that goes to that same boot camp does that same project and
Hmm.
talks about it in an interview with a recruiter or with a company, and like companies catch on to that,
Yeah.
and they want to see you going above and beyond and like taking like some real passion project efforts outside of just your day to day at that boot camp.
Yeah, yeah. And I've spoke to people who have been self-taught and still been very
Yeah.
successful
Oh
in the
yeah.
field. It
Definitely.
just depends on where you can gain that experience, that professional experience that's really going to help leverage your career.
Sure.
Um, I would say we are seeing a lot more hybrid roles more recently, or companies bringing people back into the office, whether they were one
Yep.
day on site before and now are requiring 3 days. I would say a lot of engineers that I've talked to more recently, or people that are just in the job market, have been, because of these requirements, have since moved, and it would require them to move back. So I would say that it's been a more common trend that I've seen over the past year, bringing people back in the office,
Hmm.
especially with the Chicagoland area. We work with a lot of companies in Chicago, but
Sure.
in other places as well. Not to say that
Yeah.
there aren't still remote opportunities there. I would say they're just definitely way more competitive, because the people that don't want to go back in the office are going to really be targeting those remote opportunities.
Yeah, yeah, and I would say like other big metropolitan areas,
Yeah.
we see like more hybrid requirements.
Hmm.
Hirewell is Chicago based, so of course we have a lot of clients here in this area that are, talking hybrid, or increasing the number of days required in the office. But like, our New York based clients, our San Francisco Bay Area based clients, our Atlanta based clients, like all of those are seem to be trending towards more days in the office. Of course, we
Yep.
do still have those 100% remote roles, like you mentioned, but then again, more competitive, more people can be applying, um, and you might want to consider roles that have a commute that you can come in a few days to collaborate.
Yep. Agreed. And I think if these places are paying for offices, they want them to be utilized.
Hopefully they're utilizing it well, right? We get they're paying for offices, but like, if you're coming into the office, like
Yes.
use that for collaboration time. Don't just make it like a butt in seat type of justification for
Yeah.
your lease or your mortgage payment on an office or whatever.
Don't just add a ping pong table and think that
Yeah, that's
that's gonna
yeah,
make up for it.
ping pong tables and pizza parties aren't company culture.
Yeah, yeah, no. And then referrals are another big topic that we have experienced with candidates. More recently, I've reached out to people and they have said, I might not be looking for this role,
Yeah,
or I've currently found a new role, but here are some people that I worked with that are looking. And
yeah.
that's helped other people out tremendously. But also, I've also seen people create rapport by just saying, "Hey, I'm not ready now, but let's stay in touch and connect."
Yeah.
And we've stayed in touch that way. So I think referrals and just even replying and getting in contact with a recruiter is great for
Hmm.
your career progression, and if you are ever on the market in the future.
Yeah, and I think that's especially true this year with like lots of big tech layoffs. Like someone may have gotten laid off, or maybe they didn't get laid off, but a bunch of coworkers did. If they got a message from one of us or another recruiter, they might be more inclined to
Yeah.
help out somebody else in their network that they know is looking. I know I've gotten a few referrals even this week. Especially when we're going into 2024 and people are really thinking of making a change. So anything else that you want to add to this topic, Kierra?
No, no, I don't think so. I just think make sure that you're keeping your friends, family, anyone else in mind, coworkers, if you know that someone's been affected by layoffs, and you can
Yep.
really help them out.
Yep.
But yeah, just stay positive during the holidays, and you will find that fit, or at least help someone that is looking. So
Yep.
yeah, yeah. Thank you so much for joining us today on Cracking the Career Code. Go check out talentinsights.hirewell.com for more content, and follow us on LinkedIn if you are not already.
Thank you.